Hello everyone and welcome to 5 Minute German. In today's video, we will learn the concept of ob, which is used to make questions. This is also a very important grammar concept for German A2, and there's a high chance that this will come in the German A2 exam. So till the end of the video, you will learn and understand the concept of ob and will be able to make questions using ob. So let's take an overview of what we will learn today. So first of all, we will learn what is the difference between direct questions and indirect questions. After that, we will understand ob with examples. Then we will see how to make sentences with ob. We will take a look at another use of ob. And I will tell you about one thing to keep in mind. And at the end, I will also tell you when not to use ob, because when we translate it from English, then it is often mixed and used in the wrong context. So are you ready to strengthen your German and get better at it? I know you are. So let's go. So first of all, what is a direct question and what is an indirect question? So suppose you went to the doctor and you are standing at the reception and you ask the question, is the doctor available? This is an example of a direct question. This is a more direct way of asking a question, and it is not so polite. So it is possible that the doctor might be angry and say, okay, don't you have any manners? However, there is another way you can ask the same question. It is, I would like to ask if the doctor is available. This is a more polite and formal way to ask a question. And this is what is called an indirect question. And in this case, the doctor would be happy to help. So now, what is ob? So ob means whether or if in English. This is how we can translate it. It is used to ask questions or information in a polite way. So let's take some examples. Ich möchte fragen, ob es draußen heiß ist. This means I want to ask whether it is hot outside. Another example for this would be, können Sie mir sagen, ob Sie eine Uhr haben? Can you tell me whether or if you have a watch? Let's take another example. Ich möchte wissen, ob der Zug Verspätung hat. I would like to know whether the train is delayed. So these are all examples of how you can use ob. Now let's take a look at the sentence structure. So ob always comes at the start of the Nebensatz, as you see over here. So I already have a complete video on Nebensatz, which I will link in the description below. And when we use ob, then the verb will go to the end in its conjugated form. Let's understand this with an example. A direct question will be, haben Sie eine Uhr? Do you have a watch? Over here you see that haben, which is the verb, is at the start. And this is a Ja-Nein-Frage or yes-no question. These are questions which you can simply answer with a yes or a no. Now let's make an indirect question with ob. So then this question will become, ich möchte fragen, ob Sie eine Uhr haben. I would like to ask whether you have a watch. So you see over here, haben, which was the verb, is now at the end. Another example is, hat der Zug Verspätung? Is the train delayed? We can convert this to an indirect question as, ich möchte wissen, ob der Zug Verspätung hat. I would like to know whether the train is delayed. So you see over here, again, the verb is at the end. There's another use for ob, and that is to show uncertainty. Now let's take an example of how it is used. Ich weiß nicht, ob Zeit hat. I don't know whether he has time. This is showing uncertainty, that the person does not know whether the other person has time. So for such cases, we can also change the structure. That is, ob can also come at the start, and then it will be, ob Zeit hat, weiß ich nicht. Whether he has time, I don't know. So you see, now we have ob at the start and the weiß ich nicht part has gone to the end. So So this is another way of how you can structure your sentence with ob. Now what about modal verbs? It's very easy. Modal verb will also go to the end. This is a list of modal verbs that we have in German just for your revision. Let's take an example. So a direct question with modal verb will be Möchtest du Fußball spielen? Would you like to play football? The modal verb over here is at the start and the normal verb is at the end, which is what happens with modal verbs. Now the same question with ob will be Ich möchte fragen, ob du Fußball spielen möchtest. Now möchtest has come to the end, which was the modal verb, and spielen, which was a normal verb, has gone to the second last position. Now I have an exercise for you, and it is to find the difference. So we had two examples before. The first one was Können Sie mir sagen, ob Sie eine Uhr haben? Can you please tell me whether you have a watch? This was for asking a question. Then we had another example which was Ich möchte wissen, ob der Zug Verspätung hat. I would like to know whether the train is delayed. Do you know what is the difference between these two? Can you spot the difference? I will tell you right now. So you see, when we ask a question with ob, then we place a question mark at the end. However, when we are just asking for information, then we don't use a question mark at the end. So this is just a small difference that you should keep in mind. Now another important topic, when not to use ob. So as you know that ob means whether or if. However, ob does not replace if in every condition. So we will not use ob in case of conditional sentences. What do I mean with this? So an example of a conditional sentence is I will call you if I have time. Now as ob is also translated as if in English. So this sentence with ob will be Ich rufe dich, ob ich Zeit habe. I will call you whether I have time. This does not make sense. That's why you should not use ob in case of conditional sentences. Now, before you say that, how will I know or how will I differentiate what is a conditional sentence and what is a normal sentence? Don't worry, I have a tip for you guys. The tip is that you should add or not at the end of the sentence. So when you are reading the sentence in English, add or not at the end. If it makes sense, then use ob, otherwise don't use it. Let me explain this with an example. So the example that we saw previously was I will call you if I have time. Now we add or not at the end, so the sentence becomes I will call you if I have time or not. This does not make any sense because I know if I have time or not, right? So that's why you will not use ob here. Now let's take another sentence. I would like to know if the train is delayed. Now when we add or not at the end, then the sentence becomes I would like to know if the train is delayed or not. And yes, this does make sense. So you can use ob in this case. The sentence will be Ich möchte wissen, ob der Zug Verspätung hat. So remember this tip and you will never make a mistake. Now let's do a recap of everything that we have learned. Now ob is translated to whether or if in English. It is used to ask questions in a polite way. For example, Ich möchte fragen, ob du Zeit hast. I would like to ask if you have time. It is also used to show uncertainty, which is Ich weiß nicht, ob Zeit hat. I don't know if he has time or whether he has time. The sentence structure when we use ob will be that ob always comes at the start of the Nebensatz. The verb will go to the end in its conjugated form when we use ob, and the modal verb will also go to the end when we use ob. We don't use ob for conditional sentences as we just saw, and in order to recognize sentences where you can use ob, just add or not at the end of the sentence and see if it makes sense. If yes, then use ob, otherwise do not use ob. So this was the lesson of ob. Great job, you did it. You have understood something new, and I know that you will achieve your German learning goals. So I hope that this video was helpful for you and you understood the concept of OB. I will also link some important documents such as the guideline for A2.1, so you can download it from the description below. If you have any questions, you can ask them in the comments. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button and share this video with someone else who is also struggling to understand the concept of OB or any other German concepts. So thank you very much for your time, and we will see each other in the next video.